The battle against gang violence. What is the El Salvador mega prison about? El Salvador violence just intensified with the announcement of a new mega prison. Will it be effective or a disaster waiting to happen? Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll discuss a topic that's been making headlines worldwide. The construction of a new mega prison in El Salvador will house thousands of gang members. It's a controversial move, but the El Salvador government has just unveiled plans for the largest prison in America, designed to house thousands of gang members. But will it work? Let's find out. Hey, have you heard about the new mega prison in El Salvador? It's a massive complex being hailed as the largest prison in all of America. El Salvador has been grappling with a significant gang violence problem for a while now, and they've tried many things to fix it. One of the latest ideas is building a supermax prison that can hold up to 3,000 inmates, which will be one of the biggest in America. The idea is that this new prison will better track the gangs and keep them from causing more trouble. And get this, it's where thousands of gang members are being locked up, all dressed in white underwear like they're about to hit the beach or something. They were taken from their old cells in a show of force by the government, and now they are being held in this maximum security prison. The president, Nayib Bukele, is super proud of it, and he's been sharing videos of the transfers on social media. But not everyone's happy about it. Some worry that prison conditions might lead to more violence and human rights abuses. You see, gangs like MS-13 and Barrio 18 are a massive problem in El Salvador, and this new prison is meant to be a solution. But some experts think prisons can worsen things by becoming graduate schools for criminals. Let's be honest here, prisons can be pretty tough, and some people worry that the harsh conditions could just worsen things. Plus, there is a concern that putting all these gang members in one place could turn them into criminal masterminds who are even more dangerous when they get out. It's a tough call, for sure. Plus, harsh conditions can lead to more violence and human rights abuses. It's a tricky situation, but it's clear that the government is trying to take action to address the gang violence problem in the country. What do you think? An El Salvador crackdown on gangs leads to the transfer of thousands of people to a mega prison. Hearing about El Salvador's new mega prison for suspected gang members, it's causing quite a controversy. President Nayib Bukele says it's the new home for these guys, where they can't harm the public anymore. They even posted a video of the prisoners moving in. It's wild. They all had to shave their heads and wear white shorts. You could see their gang tattoos. A dramatic spike in murders attributed to violent gangs convinced Bukele to ask his allies in El Salvador's Congress to pass a state of exception last year. The state of exception has been extended several times since then. In the early morning hours, about 2,000 accused gang members were moved to the 40,000-person capacity prison, considered the largest in the Americas. The government's been cracking down on crime, and they've arrested over 64,000 suspects since last year. They even passed a state of exception that lets them make arrests without a warrant and access private communications. But human rights groups are saying that innocent people, including women and children, get caught up in the mix and sometimes even die. Still, Bukele's campaign against the gangs is really popular with Salvadorans. The security minister says that they will keep going until they capture every last criminal. Some people are saying that the new mega prison is a clever idea because something needs to be done about all the gang violence hurting Salvadoran society so severely. And apparently, other countries like the US have succeeded with similar prisons to reduce gang violence. A mega prison in El Salvador may have violated human rights. So, all that you've heard about the recent events in El Salvador, the president, Nayib Bukele, has been making serious moves to combat gang violence. In fact, he just transferred hundreds of gang members from old prisons to a brand new maximum security complex called the Center for the Confinement of Terrorism. It was pretty wild. Cameras everywhere showed that prisoners being escorted out of their cells in their white underwear and loaded onto buses. But not everyone is thrilled about Bukele's methods. So there's been a lot of controversies lately surrounding the new mega prison built in El Salvador human rights. Human rights groups are criticizing him for declaring a state of emergency for security purposes and committing severe violations in the process. They argue that he's denying due process to the prisoners and undermining justice for victims of gang violence. And that's not all. A U.S. Attorney's Office formal accusation filed in the New York federal court accuses 2 senior officials within the president's administration of negotiating with the gangs to reduce homicides in exchange for benefits. Yikes. Despite all this, Bukele's strategy seems to be working. El Salvador's homicide rate has dropped substantially in just 10 months, and Bukele has even dubbed his country the safest in America. There is a lot of support for his methods among Salvadorans, and the recent prisoner transfer has improved his reputation. The prison, one of the largest in the Americas, was supposed to solve the country's growing gang violence problem. But some people are now saying that the prison construction may have violated human rights. First of all, there are concerns about the conditions inside the prison. It's been reported that the cells are overcrowded, with up to 50 inmates sharing a small space. This means there's not enough room for everyone to sleep or even move around comfortably. Plus, there have been reports of poor sanitation, inadequate medical care, and limited access to clean water. Another issue is that many people sent to this new mega prison were transferred from other prisons without their consent. This is a big problem because it violates the prisoners' right to due process and fair treatment. It's also been reported that some prisoners were sent to the new prison without official charges or trials, which is a clear violation of their human rights. To make matters worse, there are reports of violent incidents and abuse inside the prison. Gangs are reportedly still working within the prison walls, and there have been reports of guards using excessive force to control the inmate. In fact, it's been reported that there have been several deaths in the prison due to violence and poor conditions. The construction of this new mega prison in El Salvador has raised serious concerns about human rights violations. While it was meant to solve the country's gang violence problem, it seems to have created even more problems. It's essential that the government takes these concerns seriously and works to ensure that the prisoners' rights are respected and protected. It's a complicated situation, but one to keep an eye on. Regardless of where you stand on this issue, there's no denying that the situation in El Salvador is complex and challenging. Gang violence has been a long-standing problem in the country, and the government is challenged to find effective ways to address it. Some have suggested that alternative solutions, such as community-based interventions and rehabilitation programs, could be more effective in the long term. However, others argue that these options may need to be more practical or possible, given the current situation in El Salvador. In conclusion, constructing the new mega prison in El Salvador is a significant development in the fight against gang violence. Despite legitimate concerns about the potential risks and drawbacks of such a prison, the facility is hoped to contribute to a safer and a more secure environment for Salvadorans. So what do you think? Is this new mega prison in El Salvador a step in the right direction, or is there a better way to address gang violence in the country? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.